Okay, welcome everyone. Great to see everybody back. I feel like I'm back at home in our proper time slot. It just feels right. It feels like the place we're supposed to be in this time. And Baruch Hashem, I was able to switch the shul's ma'ariv to an earlier time because now that it's much later. I'm sorry. Now that the sun goes down so early, we can make ma'ariv earlier, and we can have our class in the normal time. And Baruch Hashem, you can all wish me a mazel tov because I finished harvest in the winery, and I can hopefully start to live like a normal human again for a while. Well, maybe a little bit abnormal, but somewhat normal anyway. So, Mitzvah Hashem.
Avram, don't you have the ice season?
Yeah, we don't need to make it this year.
Oh no?
Yeah, we have leftover from last year, so yeah. So
Red?
so anyway, so Baruch Hashem, we're gonna be able to now hopefully focus a little bit more on some of our shiurim, and welcome Vered, great to see you back. And we're at a very important point in the story right now. So, the story of the Chochom and the Tam is Rabbi Nachman teaching us how it is that we're able to attach ourselves to the inyan of temimus and pshitus when it's difficult. And we spent a lot of time understanding and hearing what it means to have temimus. And we spent a lot of time understanding what it means to be a Chochom of toxic wisdom. And now that we've seen what they are, and we've developed somewhat of an understanding of what it means to be on either side of the fence, we are informed, and we all know, we said from the beginning, it's not that one person is an ishtam, it's not that a person is a person of temimus, that they're just pure and simple and holy. And then another person, that other guy, right, is the Chochom with the toxic wisdom. It's that we have both of these two things within us. And we, depending on what our own personal makeup is, sometimes we're stronger towards temimus, and sometimes we're stronger towards Chochmah, right? Sometimes we're stronger towards emunah and simcha. But sometimes we're stronger towards gaiva, arrogance, and false beauty, and the desires of the world, right? And sometimes both of those two things are battling it out within us, right? So we have to know that this is all. Each part of the story is meant for each one of us individually, and there's something for us all in each part of the story. And so now we come to this time after we explain the life of the Tam up until now, and the life of the Chochom up until now. Now we come to the part of the story where the Chochom returns back to his hometown, and he comes back and meets, and the two characters are reunited. And so we began an understanding of this last time through the Torah of Rav Nissan Dovid Kiwak, which we're going to continue with today. But we'll just remember that Rav Arush didn't. Last chapter he was very verbose, but in the beginning of this chapter he just points out that the Chochom, the Tam, the beautiful Tam, is able to go out and greet his friend that comes back with no jealousy, no arrogance, just with goodwill, ayin tov. He goes out and he meets and he greets the Chochom, right? And why is he able to do that? Because of his temimus and his emunah. Because he knows that everything that he has is meant for him. So it doesn't bother him that this guy is rich, that this guy is famous, that he's accomplished all these things, and he hasn't done any of those things. He could care less. Because what does that guy's life have to do with me? I have my own gifts, my own situation in life, my own family. I have everything that I have, and Hashem gave it to me. There's no point in me looking at the other person and being jealous of them, right? It's not about that. Person is never jealous about someone else's medicinal prescriptions, right? Hopefully not, anyway. A normal person. A sane person is not. Yes. Right? So he's able to go out there. And this is the main thing that Rav Arush points out over here. And remember that if we're sameach bechalka, if we're happy with our portion, and how do we do that? We do that by engaging in this specific thought that I have a purpose in my life, and that purpose can only be done by me. It has nothing to do with anyone else, really. And if I am working towards doing something meaningful in my life, and I'm working towards accomplishing a meaningful goal in my life, right? Meaning, I'm working on doing the things that Hashem put me here for, accomplishing the mission that I was placed here for. Then I will feel good about it. I'll be sameach bechalki. I'll be happy with my lot in life. I'll be able to be a person of simcha, and I won't be jealous of other people, because I'll know that I'm doing something meaningful, right? And this is the life of the Tam. It doesn't matter what he's doing, as long as he's doing something meaningful. He doesn't need to be the star of the show. He doesn't need to show off his abilities and his wisdom to everybody, right? He doesn't need to always search other places. The place where he is, the place where he's been placed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he works in that place to accomplish what he's supposed to accomplish. And therefore he's happy and not jealous of anybody. So that's where he finds himself. And that's the way Rav Arush explains it, basically. But Rav Kiwak has a very different view on it, as we said last time. And Rav Kiwak is understanding what Rabbi Nachman is teaching us over here, is that when we make an effort to become people of emunah and simcha and yishuv hadas, that means yishuv hadas. It means we work to become people whose minds are settled, who we live with emunah, we live with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and so we're not pulled in every which direction, and we're not trying to go after the latest wisdom and after the latest chochmah, and we're not easily frightened. We're strong, we're steady, we're even keeled. When we become a person of temimus, right? It's not just going to stay like that. And what's going to happen? We're going to get there. We're going to get to a good level, and we're going to taste, he says, the Loshen, we're going to taste the sweetness of what it means to be a person of temimus. And then, what's going to happen is the Chochom is going to come. And when the Chochom comes, he's going to make a lot of noise. It's going to be with fanfare, and there's going to be wagons and noise, and that Chochmah is going to come to us. But Rav Kiwak is explaining it. It's not someone else. It's going to come back to us. This desire that I had to have this type of toxic wisdom. This desire, this need that I have. You know what? Yeah, I accepted that I am who I am, and I started living b'temimus. But then some people started talking about how they are, re-advancing their education, and they're looking into new things, and they're doing, and I felt, but what about me? I have to also, get another couple letters after my name, right? I have to also become an expert on every aspect of what's going on in the world now. I have to, right? And now we're being pulled back into that place. We're being pulled out of our lane, right? We got into our lane. We were driving in the place that we're supposed to be driving, doing what we're supposed to be doing. But then that Yetzer Hara comes up. Oy vey. So that's where we're at right now. And so what happens? So I want to say like this. It can happen, by the way. We coined a term last week also that we'll say again over here that we coined called spiritual FOMO. Right? FOMO is the young kids' terminology for, I think, maybe even a few years ago. It's already too old now. But I don't know how far behind I am in the current language of the young ones. But fear of missing out, right? Fear of missing out is a big thing. And fear of missing out is a huge inyan in this chokhmah, in the toxic wisdom. You hear something's going on, and you're like, I have to be involved in it. Everyone, they're so excited about it. I got to get in on it, right? And we get drawn to it. But it can also happen in very good spiritual things. Like we said last week, that we can be so excited by there's so many things going on. Baruch Hashem, so many good opportunities to learn Torah, right? And we saw that there's like numerous different, like now that it's growing by the week. In the realm of just like Gemara learning, there's this Amud Yomi, this Daf Yomi, there's a group that is saying the whole entire Talmud, 5,000 people, 5,000 whatever people saying the whole entire Talmud every single day. Each person saying one page of the Talmud every day, right? Totally amazing, totally out of this world. We have this group that Izzy Levy started, Hisbodedus. We're like working to get up there so that there's people saying doing Hisbodedus every hour of the whole day, right? And there's Tehillim groups. How many times is the book of Tehillim being said every day now? Right? And so you see these things and you're like, yeah, I gotta do it. What? It's only 20 minutes. Oh, but then this one is only 20 minutes. And this one's, you know what? I really want to learn. I want to really learn I want to learn the Likutei Moharan, let's say, and I want to do it really well. So I want to focus on it. But then you know what? But then this other one came up, and this one came up, and this one came up, and I start going all over the place, and I have too many shiurim, and what happens? This is, by the way, one of the ways that Rav Avram Tzvi Kluger, who's a big mashpia in Breslov in Eretz Yisrael, one of the ways he explains this aspect of being a Chochom is that I'm put myself into so many different things that at the end I don't come out with anything because I'm too much into everything. This is something I struggle with myself also, right? I want to do so many good things and I try, and then there's too many good things, and then what do you come out with at the end? You don't do any of them right? Jack of all trades, master of none, right? This is an Indian in Chochma Datuma, in Toxic Wisdom. So spiritual FOMO, we want to be so involved in all these things that we get too overwhelmed that we don't actually do any one thing really well, right? So that's where we find ourselves. So we're gonna go. I'm going to read inside because we're going to do a lot of reading and translating and speaking it out, because this thing that Rabbi Kiwak gives over here is very powerful and very special, and it's a little complicated, and so I need to read it and translate it, and then we'll clarify it as we go. Okay. So the Chochom, the Tam in the story, the Chochom comes back to the city, and with like a whole pomp and circumstance fanfare, and the Tam runs out to meet him, and he asks his wife, give me my yupa, my fancy clothing, I'm going to go out and see my old friend, and he's very excited to go see him, and he's happy, and he runs right to him and says, oh, my old friend, how amazing is it that I get to see you, Baruch Hashem, right? And the Chochom is like, this guy, if he can't stand anybody. The Chochom cannot stand anybody. Everyone is beneath him. Every experience is not good enough for him. And this guy, who's like everyone makes fun of already, is like the lowest of the low. But, remember Rav Arush said this, he remembers their relationship that they had in their youth, when they lived in Ashirus, when they lived with spiritual wealth. He remembered, in our story it means he remembered when Chochma and temimus are together. When they can go hand in hand, when there's spiritual wealth, and they can go hand in hand, he remembered this love that they have for each other, which is an important part of our story, right? And so he took him with him, right? And that's where we are. So let's see how he explains what's going on over here. Ella, shagam kisharoitzim lalechas b'derech ha-temimus, ba ha-chacham v'noisea barash gadol. When we find ourselves wanting to go on the path of temimus, we already decided, I want this. I want to be happy. I want to be humble. I want to have emunah, and I want to be simple. We already know it's the sweetest thing. It's the sweetest way to be, right? We decided this is what we want. What happens? Ba Chochom v'noisea barash gadol. The Chochom comes, toxic wisdom comes with a lot of noise. Lama yesh leploini hatzlacha. What about this other person, my other friend, who's doing so well? Binyanim yafim v'normaliyos v'anachnu batlanim kaile, and they're doing so well. They have a nice house, and they have a nice car, everything's going great, and we're batlanim over here. We're like we're not doing anything. Now a person wants to be a chacham and think, what's going to be with me? Right? This is one step, this is one aspect of toxic wisdom. I can't stand where I am right now because I'm looking at other people and becoming jealous of them. I'm not learning the lesson of the Tam, where I say, Zeh ma'aseh shaloi, zeh ma'aseh shali. What do I care what that person does? That's him, this is me. I'm being pulled by looking at other people and saying, oh, but they're so successful. They've reached a stage in their life. What's going to be with me now? And I start thinking, how can I be like them? How can I raise myself into the same status as them? Status is an important word in Chochom. What's going to be with my livelihood and my marriage partner? It depends who we're talking about here, right? How am I going to get out of all my bad habits? Right? And then those thoughts, they start going and going and going, and they take me and drive me right into the shol tachtis, into the lowest pit. They pull me down. And I don't know what to do when these thoughts come and they overwhelm me and I get pulled away. What do I do when the Chochom comes to visit now? Right? The Chochom is like that little guy on our shoulder that's telling us. Right? The Tam is like, just, it's okay, relax. Temimus, pshitas, just do good things and the wisdom will come, the parnasa will come, I know everybody always asks, and we speak about it relatively often, but remember, it doesn't mean that the Tam doesn't have aspirations. And it doesn't mean that he's not working to better himself. And as we see, we're going to see starting now in particular, he's going to be growing and growing and growing. He's going to eventually become one of the biggest leaders. Right? It's not that he doesn't want to move and he doesn't want to grow, but he's not pushing to be something that he's not. He's working the place that he's supposed to be, in the time that he's supposed to be, on the thing that he's supposed to be. He's not pushing, he's not being what we call doichik es hazman, pushing too fast, too forward, too fast. Right? He's living in the present moment. This is also, by the way, in Torah Samech, which is connected to a lot of these things. But Rabbi Nachman talks about a concept of arichas yamim. Right? This is something that he speaks about a lot. Arichas yamim means length of days, but it also means to have that our days are lengthened. Not that I live a long time, but each day is a long day. And Rabbi Nachman explains over there that in Torah Samech, that if we start our day, usually at the beginning of our day, when we have a whole list of all the things we have to do, and all the stresses that we have, and all the fears that we have for that day, there's like so many things. So at that moment, the day is so short. Right? However, if we start, Rabbi Nachman says, just start doing one good thing. So, start with your morning tefillah. Maybe with a coffee, I don't know, just saying. Right? Start doing your morning prayer and say, I'm doing this. But when I'm doing it, this is the kicker and the ikker. Is that he says, if you do that, then you'll finish that and then move on to the next thing. And you'll find that as you go through the day doing this, that the day is misrachev, it becomes wide. It was katzar, it was very small at the beginning. It becomes wide, it becomes a big day. And because I'm doing one thing after another, just focusing, one thing after another. While I'm doing that thing, I'm doing it. And then I move on to the next thing. And I move on to the next thing. Like it's, when people are going through really stressful times in their lives, we say, just take it one step, one day at a time. Maybe 1 hour at a time. Just one step at a time. Just do one thing. Because we can get overwhelmed otherwise, right? But it's deeper than that. Why is it deeper than that? It's because if a person can really focus on presence, can really focus on just existing in the present moment existence that they have. One of my friends said it in this lashon. He said it's almost frightening, the feeling of expansiveness that you can have at that time. If I just stop and I just think, nothing else exists in the world except where I am and what I'm doing right now and who I'm talking to right now. That moment becomes so expansive and valuable and deep and important that it's ki'ilu, it expands time. Right? Meaning, if we can focus on being present in every moment, this is why it's called arichas yamim. This is why it's long days, length of days. Not just because I packed a bunch of things in one day, that's also good, but every moment of the day I'm focused on what I'm doing at that moment. It's almost like don't want to scare anyone away, but it's almost like a meditative experience where you're able to a little bit move out of the time-bound world that we live in. So too over here, the Chochma comes, and we start getting these thoughts, and the thoughts are all, what this person is doing really well. Maybe I was just happy, but maybe I'm not so happy. Maybe what about how my ego is being attacked by this person's success, right? And the thoughts start coming. What if I do this? What if I do? Maybe I'll try to do this to make money. Maybe I'll try to do this. Maybe I'll do this to make a name for myself. Maybe I'll do this to find my next marriage partner and whatever and all these things, right? And the thoughts start going and going and going, and it's coupled together with jealousy and with fear that I'm not who I'm supposed to be, and I'm not doing as well I'm supposed to be, and I don't measure up to everybody else. It's like it's going, it's moving, it's zoom, 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 right? And when I'm in that state of mind, I have no present mind focus whatsoever. There's no time for anything. I'm behind. I'm just behind everything, right? That is when I don't have a arichas yamim. The day is so short. I'm not doing anything. I'm not accomplishing anything. So this is one of the aspects over here. So what's the eitzah? We don't want to be in that state. This is what he's saying. It means when the Chochom comes and starts bringing us all these thoughts. So what do? It's going to take a few paragraphs to get it out. So let's go. Rabbeinu Mesaper, Ma Oisim Kishaboy Milo Machshavos. Rabbeinu tells us, Rabbi Nachman tells us what to do when these thoughts come to us. It's not going to be such a quick answer. Just so hold on. So what does the Tam do? Shatam Ratz V'Noiseya Kenegdoi. He runs out to greet the Chochom. He doesn't sit back, right? Let me read his words. Ve'eno nishar l'sheves adish b'makoymai. He doesn't just sit back apathetically waiting for things to happen. He runs out to greet the Chochom. Elaratz daika lehikanes la'agolas ha'Chochom. He goes out on purpose to run out and go into the wagon of the Chochom. Why? Ki tzarich laleches b'darchei temimus kamoi im patish. We have to run in the ways of temimus, in the ways of simplicity, as if we're running with a hammer. And we have to smack with a hammer of temimus every one of those thoughts, those extraneous thoughts of toxic wisdom that are coming into our head. We don't just sit back and be like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do and so many thoughts and so many stresses and then so many... That's not the way. It's to go one by one in those thoughts and with the power of temimus and knock them out. He hasn't told us how yet, but let's hold on. Ha'agala hi metzius sibuv ha'machshava she'etzel ha'chocham ikar agala shaloi hu liyos metzius chashuva gedola b'chavad gadol. What does the agala mean? What does the wagon mean? So if you remember, his wagon was a fancy pants wagon, right? and the meaning of this wagon is that everywhere the Chochom goes, what is he looking for? It's metzius chashuva u'gedola b'chavad gadol. It's a larger than life existence with tremendous honor. L'hatzliach v'rambam v'kabbalah liyois kli mefoyer, to be it's like these things we say sometimes, like about, for example, going to Uman. Breslevers have this problem too, by the way, a lot. It's like people can be shamed in their talk about, oh yeah, I went to Uman already, so and so many years. What, you didn't go to Uman? How could you not go to Uman? Right? And people can feel like well, I don't, maybe I want to be part of the Uman group also, right? Oh, you're not doing the Tehillim thing nowadays that everyone's doing. How could you not be doing the Tehillim thing? Come on. I want to be part of that group, right? Right? It's all part of being something. It can be in holy things also. There's something else like this that I keep forgetting about what it is. But whatever. Yeah. So that's where we find ourselves. V'hatam. So what does the tam do? Menaseh lahachnis. Listen to this. Listen to these beautiful words. You've got to remember this one. This is important. Vatam menaseh lahachnis safek katan b'rosh shel chacham. The tam just tries to put a tiny little bit of doubt into the mind of the chacham. What is it? Ulai kol zeh hevel v'shav. Maybe all of this is just vanity and falsehood. He's just giving this one little injection into that whole thing. Maybe this is just all hevel v'shav. Vanity and, I don't know, there's a better word for this for sure. Shav. Like vanity and falsehood. Let's just leave it at that for now. We have to connect to the power of our forefather Yaakov Avinu, who was called Ish Tam Yoshev Oyalim. He was a person of temimus. He was a Tam, right? And what did he do? Yoshev Oyalim. He sat in tents. The tents that we always hear about is that he sat in the tents of learning Torah. He went to yeshiva. He learned Torah all the time. Shnei sugei oilim, but it's oihalim, it's plural. Because there's two types of tents that we need. What are the two tents that we need? Ha'echad, lisgar atzma b'torah tefillah. We have to, close ourselves in with Torah and tefillah. We have to take our time, and we have to learn. We have to take our time, and we have to daven. These are the aspects of temimus in avodas Hashem. I have to pray in the times I'm supposed to, regularly. And even if I think that I could be doing other things that are going to make more of a splash in the world, I'm going to start a new WhatsApp group to accomplish something over and over again 1,000 times a day. Good things, I'm saying. But I need to be someone who starts a WhatsApp group also. I want to be one of these people, right? Before any of that stuff, just I'm learning. And I'm learning only to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And I'm davening. I'm being misboided. I'm doing hisboidedus. Why? No one needs to know about it, right? Even if you're on the hisboidedus group, right? And people know about it. Okay, great, but it doesn't have to be that way, and we certainly shouldn't think of it that way, right? And I'm doing it. This is my temimus in avodas Hashem. That's the first oil that we have to be in. We have to seclude ourselves in a tent of learning and in a tent of tefillah. That's the first tent. What's the second tent? Vasheni. The second is to go out into the canopy, the wagon of the Chochom. We have to go into that aspect of Chochmah that's coming to us, that's attacking us. And what do? L'sakein u'lerapos machshava achar machshava. To rectify and heal one thought after the next thought. I can't just stand back and just let them build and build and build and build. I have to inject temimus into every one of those thoughts. That's it. Machshava achar machshava. Be'istachlus b'seichel shebechol davar. Like Torah Aleph tells us, to look into the divine wisdom in everything, every thing in creation, every item in creation, every thought that I have. So vayakveni, he uses these words over here. If you remember way back to Torah Aleph, the Torah says about the interactions between Yaakov and Esav. That Yaakov tricked Esav, right? And so the pasuk says when Esav is complaining, he says v'zeh, and he Yakveni ze pa'amayim. Right? So, direct translation is probably something like he prevented me, he messed me up, he stopped me two times, right? With the birthright and the brachas, right? But another way of looking at it is you could say, he Yaakoved me twice, right? Like he Yaakoved me twice he did this to me. But the Targum Onkelos over there translates it as chakmeni. He like outsmarted me. He out-wisdomed me. Right? He out-chachammed me these 2 times. Right? But because he used his wisdom to trick the wisdom, to trick the chacham, to get past the chacham. Meaning there's a type of chachma that's good chachma. It's good wisdom. And with that, we can take thought by thought and we can pull them down and get rid of them. And we can be that force that Esav complains about. Right? That the negative thoughts complain about. Even though the truth is, they love each other. The Chochom and the Tam, the traits of Chochom and temimus, they love each other. Why? Machmas avas neurim. Because of this love they had in their youth. So what does that mean? So if you remember, in the beginning of the story, they live in an ideal place. And in that ideal place, the Chochom and the Tam are in love with each other. They're best friends. Right? What's that ideal place? Is where they live with all of the proper spiritual backing that they need. They live in a spiritually secure place. And why? Because they're in their father's houses. They have that beautiful home that's drawn upon their ancestral wisdom. And they're little kids, and they have everything. They're guided through everything. So in that place, where I have a good spiritual grounding and a good spiritual backing, and I'm living in that place, Chochma and temimus go hand in hand, and they love each other. Right? So he says, even though they love each other, avas neurim, with their childhood love. What does that mean? Hainu. When a person lives constantly with his chadshus, with renewal, like they're young again, like they're in those days of youth again. Then temimus and chachma go together. It's not a battle. If I can live in this state of mind. Because as we know, we've said many times, Jews are not people who like to brush aside wisdom. We love intellect and wisdom. Look at all the books, right? This is what we're all about. For sure, that's what we want to do, is we want to become more wise and more intellectual and have more wisdom and knowledge. But only when the Chochma knows that it needs to have temimus. V'yashrus. It needs to have simplicity, and it needs to have yashrus, which means just to have an upright heart, to be a good person. So when the Chochma knows that it needs the temimus, and the temimus knows that it needs to build its Chochma, and they love each other and they work together, then we're okay. Then we're ideal. That's what we want to be. But it's when the Chochma gets out of hand, and the Chochma becomes this toxic force in our lives of this wisdom that pulls us out into many places and draws us into depression and into jealousy and into ego and into anger. This is what it does. That's not the right type of Chochma. As long as that Chochma knows it's only good for me, I only want to engage in Chochma if it's going to bring me to temimus. If it's going to build my temimus, if it's going to build my emunah, it's good. If not, I'm out. Right? So this is what he's doing. This is why he runs out to greet him. And this is what he's saying. There's 2 places we have to be. We have to build ourselves up with our Torah and Tefillah, but then when those thoughts come, we got to go out to them and we got to say, wait a second. Where is this thought coming from? What am I thinking about here? Why am I jealous of this person? I already know temimus. I've tasted temimus. I know that there's no such thing as jealousy. It's stupid. And I'm taking out my hammer, like he says over here, and I'm smashing that thought into 1,000 pieces. It's gone. Right? This is how, and that's temimus, knocking out the chochma. And on the other hand, it's the chochma, realizing that if this wisdom is not going to bring me to emunah, temimus, simcha, I don't need it. It's not wisdom. right? V'rak achar shenaflu mehashirus nifredu zemezeh. It's only when they've lost their spiritual security, when they've lost that place of spiritual guidance and security and knowledge, and things start going haywire, then they hate each other. Then they can't coexist. Yeah. V'achshav kashenifgashim. Now that they're meeting, ein hatam nivha machmas chochom el adrabah. He's not like overwhelmed or upset at the Chochom coming now at all. The Tam, the opposite. Ratzli krasoi, he runs out to meet him. Laha irboy mesikos temimus. He's going out to that thought of jealousy. Let's put it into this context. A thought of jealousy comes. I see that there's this person. Everyone has someone like this, I'm sure, in some way, and they just have something. It's that one person that really gets under my skin. Why? Because they are the one that they have something that really, I can see it, that they have it and I don't have it. And I'm embarrassed that I don't have it. I feel bad about myself that I don't have it. So that person really, really gets under my skin. And this thought comes, right? So if we are people of temimus, if we've been working to build our temimus and our amunah and our simcha, right? So what do? We see that thought coming, and we run out to greet it. And we say, I need to inject temimus into this thought. Rule number 1 of temimus, do not look at someone else. Do not compare yourself to other people. It does not work. It's only going to lead to a bad place. Smash, that thought is gone. That's not chachma. It's going to destroy me. Right? Laha'ir boy masikus temimus. Tell him, teach the chacham, the sweetness of temimus. What am I going to kill myself? I'm going to live with stress and jealousy and pain and anger and all this stuff. Is that what I want? Chachma, is that what you want? I'm telling you, there's a way to exist where you don't have to be that person. You don't have to hate people. You don't have to be the person who's never happy, who can never be satisfied with the restaurant, who's never satisfied with the hotel, who's never satisfied, who finds always something bad about every person they speak to. You don't have to be that person. You could be happy. You could feel good. You could feel simcha and amunah. Just remember, you are you, and they are them, and that's it. Don't look to them. This toxic wisdom is super dangerous. Because what's going to happen? The ribui or of chachma. Ribui or is a term that Rabbi Nachman uses a lot that means too much light. If we have too much light and not the right vessels to hold it, we get burnt out. Our vessels get shattered, or they get burned. Right? So if the intellect gets overactive, and you say, oh, I see this person has all these things that I wish I had, then the wheels start turning. I need to do that also, and I need to, right? Everything's rolling and my wisdom's going, right? That's too much light. What's going to happen? It's just going to explode, burn me out, I'm done. And what does it happen? Machmas ribi or la'atzvos, puts me into sadness. Umerirus, bitterness. Utoyos, and I'm going to make all kinds of mistakes also, right? Because in the place of what I should have been doing, I should have been looking for renewal. If I felt bad about something in the past, I should have started hischadshus. You know what? The past is the past. I'm starting new today. That's what I should have done. What else should I have done? And I should have looked at the good things that I have. I should have said thank you to Hashem for the roof over my head, for the heat, it's cold outside, for the food that I have, for the friends that I have, for everything that for the clothes that I have. If I just would have looked for the good and made a hischadshus, that's what I should have done. Rather, oisei kol yamav rak lahavin inyanim gedolim umuflagim midargasai. But no, I have to sit and figure out all these great things about, I don't want to making up a lot of things right now, but right? Like I have to show people that I'm going to go out for coffee with this guy. I'm going to brush up on world politics and make sure that I know everything that's going on. Oh, I know this. He knows a lot about Russia, so I better do some stuff and figure out Russian stuff. So now I can show him that I also have an intellect, and I know about Russia, and right, and whatever it is, all these stupid things that I'm gonna just go and go and go. I could have just been thankful, right? I could have made a chadshus and said, okay, I'm meeting this guy, and I know he knows a lot of stuff, and I'm feeling right now less than him, right? Because of everything that happened in the past. You know what? Starting fresh now. I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm not gonna be depressed. I'm gonna look at me. I'm not that guy. So I don't know about Russia. Right? So I don't know every little thing about roasting coffee. So I don't know everything about smoking meat, whatever it is. All of these meat. I also don't know about smoking weed, but or meat, whatever the situation is. Right? I don't care. That's not what I do. You know what I do? I come and I learn beautiful Torah, and I try to be nice to my family, and I try to make a good place for people to come together. That's it. I try to do good things that I can do. I don't care what he does. I don't care what he knows. I could have been this guy who's happy, who's just happy and comfortable. But no, I had to go and lahavin inyanim gedolim muflagim midar gasai machshava la'ein shiur, and have these deep thoughts beyond everything else. So all you got, all the time has to do is take that thought that's coming and just inject into it one thought of temimus, of pure simplicity and purity into it. That's what he has to do. So therefore, we're now seeing that there's a derech here. We have a way to approach this, to get out of it. We've been giving a path over here, right? And once we have this path and we start feeling these thoughts, what are we going to do? We're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. I already have the medicine for this affliction. And I'm going to go and I'm going to inject the temimus into it. Am I really being upset because I think someone else I should be like them? Hold on a second. First point, stop, game over. That thought does not work. Hischadshus, simcha, look at all the good points and everything. Inject that thought of temimus into it, that thought is gone. This is our derech. So therefore, once we know we have a derech now, the Tam doesn't just sit and say, oh, the Chochom's here. All right. No. He runs to him with tremendous simcha. He doesn't get upset. He doesn't get like mixed up from all the tremendous noise that's going on in his head now, from the new Chochom coming back. Ela adarabba, opposite. Maybe I'll be able to inject temimus into this, and I will not lose my temimus, and I'll be able to pull out a little bit of wisdom from this. I'll be able to get a bit of chochmah from here. Because if I stick to my temimus and I inject temimus into the situation, not only will I remain in my state of temimus, and I won't abandon my beautiful state of existence, but maybe I'll be able to be back together with my old friend. Maybe I'll be able to get some chachma, the good kind of chachma, that's gonna go together with temimus. And I'm gonna enliven myself with regular amunah and with davening and learning mincha mariv shacharis. When the chachma comes, I'm gonna accept it, receive it with plenty of simcha. Because the tam also wants chachma. Aval yachad ima simcha. It must be together with simcha. And the only reason I should want to increase my wisdom is that I should increase my simcha. Right? And so Rabbi Elkabaz talked about this last night a lot, about the Indian of simcha, and we see it's all over the place, like we always talk about it. Right? But this is a real clear, sometimes we have to think a little bit to define what temimus is, right? And we have to say purity, simplicity, we have to make a whole definition, right? And that's one of them. Chochmah is only good. I only want to involve myself in this chochmah if it's going to bring me to temimus, right? But if that's sometimes too hard for us to try to figure out, is it bringing me to temimus or not, to purity, simplicity? Simcha. Is this chochmah? Is this wisdom? Are these thoughts that are coming to me now? If I follow through with them, if I let them take me, is it going to bring me to simcha? Or is it going to bring me to madness and to bitterness, right? What are his words over here? Atzvus, merirus, and toyes. Or is it going to bring me to sadness and bitterness and a bunch of mistakes? Is it going to bring me to simcha or not? That's how I can know if it's the right way to go or not. And if it's not, I have to say to the Chochom, I have to inject my temimus into it. This is not right. It's not proper to be jealous of somebody. It's only going to lead me down the wrong path. It's not proper to be going after knowledge and to be doing something in order so that I should show people how great I am. That I should make a splash in the world. Right? It's not that's not going to make me happy. It's not going to make anyone happy. And Hashem is going to smack me down if I do that. If it's all about ego, right? It's not proper that I want to learn a lot of Torah so I can go and show off to people. Or use it as a way to hold authority over other people. Right? It's not going to bring me simcha. Just inject the temimus and the simcha into it, and if it passes that test, then the two can go hand in hand. And if not, not. If not, hit it with the hammer and not knock it out. V'chein etzleinu, he says, and so too by us. Kol chidush b'Torah shezoichen lechadesh. Yesh b'zeh simcha nifla lamala. Every time we're able, this is a big one by the way, in yeshiva, or like anywhere really, when do we like really, really appreciate something that a person says? Is when they're able to say something that's a chiddush, that brings something new out, a new way of understanding something, that's like, wow, you just really nailed something that brings a whole new level out that I didn't get before. It's called a chiddush, right? A novel idea, right? And so in Talmudic learning, this is also a big thing. The people who can make the chidushim are like the big Talmidei Chachamim, right? So this is a wonderful thing what kind of simcha nifla is tremendous simcha happens when we make chidushim. Kol sheken b'sifrei tzadikim, all the more so in the books of the tzadikim. V'divrei Rabbeinu Hakadosh, and the words of Rabbi Nachman, shem tikunim she'ein l'sha'er u'lesaper le'ein aruch. That we can't even begin to explain the depths of the rectifications, spiritual rectifications that come from the words of Rabbi Nachman. V'zeh she'atam ba likras ha'chachma l'kabel chachma im simcha, is only to receive the chachma together with simcha. So in other words, there's chidushim in Torah out there. There's the unbelievable wisdom of the Sfarim, the books of the tzaddikim, and there's the life elevating, changing, saving Torah of Rabbi Nachman, right? And so that Torah that we learn, that we know brings us simcha, we run to it. We run to it and we take it in the best way we can, right? Once again, with proper wisdom, not too much, right? It has to be the right way in the right time. And the other kind of wisdom that's not good, we also run out to it, and we inject temimus and simcha into it. We say you cannot exist the way you are. I'm going to put simcha into you and temimus into you, and I'm knocking you out. You're gone, right? This is the derech that we have to adopt if we want to move forward. We want to be successful. And if we can say, I know we can say, that it's a very challenging time right now with this, because everybody wants to be like, has this like love-hate relationship with news and social media. I really want to know what's going on, but at the same time, the more, if I see too much, it pulls me into what? Atzvus, merirus, and toyus. Sadness and bitterness, and anger, and all kinds of mistakes that I'm going to make, right? And so too, everyone wants to see like who's saying what on social media, right? And social media is the worst because that's where most of the worst anti-Semites, spread their stuff. It's very apparent on there, right? So it's like I want to see good things, and I kind of want to know a little bit that they're out there, the bad guys, right? But I know if I get too much into there, the toxic wisdom starts going and going and going. I need to know this. I need to know that. I need to know this. I need to know that. And I start going and going and going. And what happens? Mamish depression, sadness, bitterness, anger, everything. Wasted time, wasted hours, right? All of this happens. No arichas yamim, no long days, no days filled with being in the present moment. That's literally, you're sitting there and you're looking, you're just feeding fear into yourself. You're feeding other places in the world, other things, other places, nothing to do with your current potential to do good. And remember, just some of the simple things that we always say. Instead, you could have said some Tehillim. You could have read a little bit of Torah. You could have, what do I always like to say? Call your mother, call your father, call your children, whatever, right? Whatever it is, call some friends who are lonely. Those people who are lonely, give them a call. Imagine, you could have just done some amazing good things in the world, but instead, we let the fear and the terror actually do what they want to do, and pull us away from light and doing good things. It's mamish. It's a lose-lose situation. So Rabbi Nachman's saying over here. Rav Kiwak is explaining in the story by Rabbi Nachman over here that when we have those thoughts, don't just flow. Don't just stay. Don't just sit. B'shalva b'menucha. And let it flow. Run out to that thought that you have to greet it with simcha. Inject the simcha into it. Inject temimus into it. And what does that mean? Give it the test. Is this going to pass the simcha and temimus test? Is the thing I'm doing right now going to bring me more temimus? Meaning, what does it mean, temimus? Simple connection to Hashem, emuna, and simcha. Is it going to bring me more simcha? And if not, that's the test. Smack it, hit it. You're done. Out of here. I'm only gonna bring myself into these chochmas if I know they're going to build me. They're going to build my connection to Hashem. We're going to see. We're already running out of time over here. But next week we're going to continue on this with a new slant to it, which is very, very sweet. But we're going to see some of the same language with slightly different chidushim over here. And specifically, we're going to see the importance of making sure to see the yichud of Hashem in the world and everything. Meaning, just the oneness of Hashem. Eino ed mavadai. This is going to be next week, that we're going to see from the words, the very words of the story, this aspect. So let's try it this week, Chevra. Let's try when those thoughts come, when whatever it is. Doesn't have to be with the Israel situation. You have I happen to have unfortunately a couple of very sick relatives right now, and in those situations also, right? It doesn't help to get into a cycle of overthinking and sadness and depression. It's not good for anybody. So you have to inject into it, right? Could be financial worries, right? Could be relationship difficulties. Whatever it is, I have to inject into it temimus and simcha. Does it pass the test? If yes, good. Let me do it. If not, run away and go back into temimus and simcha. Mirz Hashem, hopefully we can all try it. Homework, guys. Let's all take some homework. and Mitzvah Hashem, it'll work. I think it's upstairs. It's okay.
Oh.
And we'll see how it goes. Any questions or comments? Very good. You know, you just reminded me of something. One of the things that I didn't write a note, but that I really wanted to mention, and the fact that you used the word self-awareness. Did you say self-awareness is really is so important, because one of the things that Rav Arush says about all the way through this whole narrative is that it's impossible to do any of this without personal contemplation, without taking time to in hisbonenus, contemplating, talking to Hashem about me and about what I'm experiencing. Like, you need, I'm so happy you said that, because it's one of the most important points from today. In order to be that person who goes out, like it's not necessarily in real time. You know, like we may find ourselves having a day where we're being overwhelmed with all of these crazy thoughts and this crazy toxic wisdom, right? And I may not be able to in real time be like, oh, here comes one, okay, I'm going out to greet it, done, good, next one. What else do we got, right? It may not look like that. What it may look like is by mid-afternoon, I'm feeling super sad and bitter and angry, whatever my feelings are. And I have to take the time now I have to make that effort. How do I go out and greet that wisdom? I go and I start talking about it with the Ribono Shel Olam. I start saying, Hashem, I'm feeling so overwhelmed. I'm feeling so sad and bitter and angry. And it's all built up from this experience and this experience and this experience. And you know, and now Rabbi Nachman is giving us like some medicine. One of the titles of the books that they write in English from Rav Kiwak's Torah is called The Rebbe's Pharmacy, right? And it's because these things are all they're little refuahs, you know, little ways of healing, step by step. But if we do that, we can go now. This is what it means: is go and start thinking, go away from everybody, find some seclusion, and start thinking about what I'm feeling and what's going on, and start talking to Hashem about what I'm feeling and what's happening and where's it coming from. And now I can sort it out. Now I can say, wait a second, why am I allowing myself to be exposed to this? Why am I allowing myself to look at another person with jealousy, with envy? Why am I allowing this person to make me angry? Like, it's not good for me. I have to remember, I am me, and that person, and he is he, or she is she. Forget it. I'm not looking at that person anymore. Done. Right? That's one aspect. Just one more. The other thing is that really struck me, that's important, is if anyone ever does any meditation, I'm not saying crazy, wild meditation, just like really mindfulness and using meditation as a way to come to a calm state of mind, a still state of mind, right? So if you ever have any experience with this, the worst thing you can do is to, if you're trying to remove thoughts from your mind and to have a blank or clear mind, the worst thing you can do is, as thoughts come, be like, get out of here, I don't want you, stop it, push it, right? It never stops if you do that. But if you just allow thoughts to unfold, and when they come, you just say, okay, this is what I'm thinking right now. Okay. And you see where it goes. And where does it follow in your meditation? You greet it, right? As opposed to just trying to be like, get out. It doesn't work. You have to greet it first. You have to experience it and allow, and then you can do something with it. It's a little bit different in meditation. But certainly in regular spiritus, once I acknowledge it, I'm aware, I have awareness of it, I acknowledge what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, where it's coming from. Now I can insert the Rebbe's pharmacy and make a refuah, make a healing of that thought process. What did you want to say?